Even know what this is. I think we gotta watch this. Gay Italian pregnant. Like, this popped up in my YouTube recommendation. I had to click it. You got me in. I don't know what I'm watching. I don't know where we're going with this. We'll check it out.
It's a strange time to be named Luigi, especially if you're.
You know what? It actually really is a strange time to be called Luigi. Who is called Luigi though? I mean, we have this guy that did something really bad that kind of killed somebody called Luigi. So, you know, like, it's not the right time.
Fat, gay, and dating your brother.
Ooh.
Since the dawn of the internet, Luigi, unlike Mario, has consistently been the target of the weirdest fetish art ever made. Whether he's 9 months pregnant.
What? What is this? This is AI slop.
Inflated.
My future Happy Pride Month from Nintendo America. Our staff is filled with people of all sexualities, so we love supporting that. Thank God we have incest on Nintendo of America.
We're passionately making out with his own brother.
This
Luigi
is real
fan
guy.
art is so bizarre that pundits have even accused it of attacking family values.
Oh my gosh, Nintendo is promoting incest now?
But
Yes.
how did
Look at
politicians
Luigi. Damn, look at those cheeks.
find out about Super Mario incest in the first place? Why is DeviantArt obsessed with corrupting Luigi
What the
specifically?
fuck?
And how is his downfall linked to the housing crisis of 2008? This is the unbelievable sequence of events that got Luigi pregnant. This is bad art history.
What a sentence to be said. This is the sequence of what got Luigi pregnant. Oh boy.
Like most things gay and weird, our story begins in the 90s with a company called Dick City Animation.
Wow.
But before we bust that one open, in case you've never seen this, pregnant, inflated, gay Luigi is a subgenre of fetish art that's been floating around the internet for at least 15 years. And while it's easy to look at something like this and assume that it's nothing more than DeviantArt weirdness, as soon as you try to figure out where any of it came from, nothing makes sense. Why was almost all of it a one-time thing for the artists who made it? Irony alone does not explain this, but I think I figured out what happened. In the mid-2000s, 3 events would unfold in rapid succession and ruin Luigi's life. First, in 2005, some jabroni goes to the zoo and uploads a video of it to a new website
What a
called
crazy
YouTube.
guy.
Then, in 2006, a British kids channel begins airing reruns of a Mario cartoon so famously ass that it broke thousands of young minds. And in
love that one.
2007, VHS tapes of this show would make their way into the hands of the infamous YouTube poop community. But we're missing something. There's only one character in existence who could have reasonably gotten Luigi pregnant. A character conspicuously absent from an obscure educational game from 1993. Mario is missing.
No
Strap
way.
in for the most batshit crazy art history lesson of your life.
This is crazy.
In 1985, Super Mario Bros. Came out for the NES and changed the entertainment landscape forever. And I'm sure this is familiar to you, but to kids in the 80s, this was the equivalent of landing on the moon. So meteoric was Super Mario's success that a few short years and sequels later, it had inspired multiple shows, live action and animated, of hilariously inconsistent quality. It's worth remembering that during the 80s and 90s, cartoons made for the sole purpose of pushing action figures were becoming a fixture of children's entertainment, which, in case you ever wondered, is why they all have that look. But the Super Mario marketing department wasn't merely content traumatizing thousands of Gen X kids with 2 overweight Italians in front of a green screen. So they quickly got to work with more experimental types of spin-offs. And one of the earliest staples of hardcore PC gaming
This game is absolutely dog shit. I think I watched Game Grump play this or something.
was born. Released for the MS-DOS in January 1993, Mario is Missing was a truly really subversive point-and-click adventure game, in which you play as Luigi, who must rescue Mario from Bowser's clutches and foil Bowser's plan to buy enough hairdryers to melt all the ice of Antarctica. But the plot of the game is irrelevant, because its true legacy came in the form of one drawing. This unintentionally blood-curdling image of Luigi kind of just standing there and making a terrifying face. And this was the beginning of the end for Luigi fan art.
Why is
for
he
reasons
so
you'll understand
concerned?
very shortly. The next summer, following the smash hit of Mario is Missing, a game would come out for the now infamous CDI console
this is
extension.
bad.
A game so absolutely ass, with cutscenes so poorly acted and animated that the development team was firing staff halfway through production for making assets that were simply too ugly. The resulting monstrosity, Hotel Mario, became a cult classic for how visually offensive it was. That
This time, by the way, I think this is the time when Nintendo allowed people to create products of their IP. There was something like that. There was some kind of deal they had. So you had a bunch of new devs and new groups of people creating like Mario, Zelda games and shit like that. And they all were ass. All of them were ass.
it would come back into the fold 14 years later in
I think they were all on the Philips.
of YouTube poops. And if you don't know what a YouTube poop is, you were way too young to be watching this. Get off my channel. But before we get there, you may be asking yourself, Frankie, this is all very educational, but at what point does Luigi get pregnant? Say no more. In
Well, let's
addition to
figure
the
that
growing
out.
collection of janky Luigi images generated by these games was a spin-off TV series called Super Mario World, produced by a now shuttered studio called The Incredible World of Dick. This show, much like Hotel Mario and Mario is Missing, was pretty charmingly bad. And it was quite the blinker you'll miss it phenomenon because it only ran for 3 months in 1991. But its greatest contribution, cementing it in shitpost history, was its final episode, Mama Luigi.
Mama
The plot is pretty cut
Luigi.
and dry. Luigi recounts how he found Yoshi as a baby and decided to take care of him, referring to himself like this.
That'll teach you to mess with my new little buddy Yoshi.
Mama Luigi!
Cool it, caterpillar breath. I'm not sure. Mama? Mama Luigi?
YouTube poops, the intellectual backbone of visual media.
Oh no.
The stuff that so profoundly cooked my brain as a kid that I grew up to make videos about this. But what are they and why do they matter? By definition, a YouTube poop is not just a video that sucks. It's a type of mashup made of pre-existing media that gained enormous traction in 2006. The availability of home computers, the monstrous popularity of Windows XP, and the prevalence of an editing software you may have heard of called Windows Movie Maker meant that just about anyone could slam together clips from games and shows, raise the volume to something known as ear rape, slap 300 rainbow filters onto it and call it a day.
Beautiful.
These incoherent, seemingly
Cinema.
random edits were a perfect fit for the 2000s era of explosive, random humor and took off almost immediately. And some of the most popular sources of media for this genre were Hotel Mario, Mario is Missing, and of course, Super Mario World.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
What?
Between 2006 and somewhere around 2012, you couldn't throw a stone in any direction without hitting spaghetti, Ouija,
Pesky plumber.
the sky had a baby,
Squidward! The sky had a Pokemon from my cereal box!
and notably, Mama Luigi.
That's Mama Luigi to you, Mario.
But the metaphorical water most likely broke in 2008 when YouTuber Tippin' Man uploaded the legendary poop. Mama Luigi gets pregnant and dies. And
Thank
the
God.
timing is no coincidence. Smack in the middle of the YouTube poop golden age, in 2009, this Luigi pregnancy fan
Oh,
art was
Lord.
gifted to the world. Created by DeviantArt Mpreg furry fetish artist Big Wolf, which is a sentence I defy you to tell me has existed before this. This palette-swapped Luigi was a cultural synthesis. Numerous fetish artists likely inspired by some of the darker themes of these Mario poops.
Do you ever think to yourself, man, we are such a weird fucking race, man? How did we cook this shit up? What the fuck are we doing? What is happening? What is wrong with us, man? What the fuck is wrong with us?
Threw their hats into the ring with their own renditions of Luigi bearing a child, gaining dangerous amounts of weight, and so forth. And for what it's worth, YouTube Poops touched on a variety of grave subject matter, including assault, pregnancy, unwanted fatherhood, death, and so on. But we're not even close to done with this yet, because there are two majorly confounding factors that we haven't even talked about yet: the recession and gay rights. Let's start with the gay stuff. To briefly return to where this all started, in the 90s, there was a massive development in the fan art space. In 1998, when I was 0 and therefore could not intervene, two bloggers going by the pseudonyms Talia Johnson and Texas Ranger coined the term mpreg, or at least its earliest known use online. While male pregnancy is by no means a recent literary invention, the rise of fanfic sites like fanfiction.net and AO3, among others, allowed untold numbers of devoted fans to publish literally anything they could think of. And while this is a separate, larger phenomenon of its own, the slow but unstoppable tide of anime and manga in the English-speaking world coincided perfectly with fangirl antics. And before long, by the mid-2000s, otaku culture was in full swing. Anime and video game fans of all kinds wrote fanfics about their favorite male characters making out, getting pregnant, being forced to shower together at Sonic Fighting Academy. You get the point. Pregnant dudes, in fact, are such a staple of fangirl culture that there's an entire genre of alternate universe fiction called the Omegaverse. The crux of it—
why do fucking teenage girls like draw this shit, man? What's with men being pregnant that everybody gives a shit about? What the fuck?
Is like, there's guys and gals who desperately need to get pregnant, and then there's like these other guys and—
Damn, now that's what ruled by the alpha. Yeah, put a child in that.
They get those guys pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know it sounds crazy, but they literally did this in Fairly Odd Parents. They had an hour-long special where Cosmo gets pregnant and gives birth to a baby.
The baby just kicked.
What the fuck? This happened?
It's coming.
It's worth noting that these gay pairings of characters that were usually not actually gay were largely done for the novelty and the taboo factor, not necessarily because everyone back in 2004 was especially impassioned about gay marriage. And because many of these fics were expressly written to be smut, there was also a great deal of incest. In fact, I remember when Orin High School Host Club was poppin' when I was like 11.
American tradition there, brother.
Seeing those prehistoric memes, the twincest memes with the two twins. Does anybody remember what that is? Shipping siblings together because it was les smexy yaoi was relatively popular. And though Super Mario as a franchise never had the type of fangirl following that, say, Legend of Zelda did, there were nevertheless trailblazing DeviantArt users that would stop at nothing to make sure Mario got Luigi pregnant. Mario Bros. Yaoi Fan 12 was actually such a major influence on Super Mario incest that her artwork from 2011, mind you, still comes up in relevant Google searches today. But after 2011, there was a noticeable decline in the volume of pregnant Luigi art, which I believe coincides with the death of YouTube poop culture. As YouTube developed its corporate identity and sought to make itself more palatable to advertisers, its early rough around the edges era faded into irrelevance. And the fact was, in the early 2010s, calling things gay did not really hit the same. The topic of gay rights and gay equality was about to explode into the mainstream political discourse, and gay fan art that was once considered a gag had taken on a degree of post-ironic sincerity. Which is to say, even though there was no political appetite for incest, drawing Mario and Luigi locking lips was now seen as more completely universally funny than it possibly was offensive. But not by everyone. This joke fan art of Mario and Luigi making out, which funny enough actually did come from the YouTube poop era, randomly resurfaced in 2019 in the form of a hoax tweet.
There is hoax tweet? Like, there is no way this was actually real. There's no way they actually tweeted this
by an account pretending to be Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Of America. The account, which misspelled the word Nintendo, tweeted the gay Mario incest image with the caption, "Happy #Pride Month. Our staff is filled with people of all sexualities, so we love supporting them."
That's right.
And even though anyone with eyes could see that this was a joke, British conservative commentator Sebastian Gorka felt the degree of wokeness on display was so off the charts, he fired back, tweeting at the actual Nintendo of America.
There's no way.
So, Nintendo America?
So you wait. So you quote tweeted the fake account on the post and then you tweeted the real one. How? Now this is stupidity on the next level. How do you quote tweet a tweet of the original, of the account, of the fake account about something bad, and then at the real account thinking that they post what?
Is promoting incest now? Also, I want to be clear, Gorka is a human being. People fall for things all the time.
That could be
Just
bae?
recently, I saw a tweet about a totally bogus lost media game from like South Sudan
Sexdick.
called The Adventures of Sexdick, and I uncritically just believed it was true. I just thought this was a particularly funny interpretation of that tweet. And now that we covered shitty educational games, janky cartoons, YouTube poops, and super incest brothers,
Bump.
I have saved the craziest part for last. I have a theory about the 2008 recession and Luigi inflation and thickness that is so genuinely insane that I only teased it in the intro because I did not actually want to lead with it. But I think there's potentially a little something there, so please hear me out. As you may remember, the recession began in the tail end of 2007 and was over by the summer of 2009. Recession pop, as it's retroactively been called, was characterized by optimism, loudness, and excess. And following in this theme of general excess, common wisdom tells us that in times of financial or resource hardship, men tend to prefer a more voluptuous female figure because it suggests biological fitness. But in order not to go off speculation alone, I found contemporaneous articles from 2008 and 2010
Does the recession make my butt look big? These recession times tend to bring out food craving for cheap and high-cal comfort food. There are donut buying incentive at DD McDonald was recently promoting 2 triple cheeseburger for $3. 2 triple cheeseburger for $3? Can we go back to that? Bro, that shit probably costs like $20 now. The demand for spam has put the manufacturer hormone into production overdrive. Campbell Nation Soup maker are expecting a spike sale as the budget shopping kicks in. Man, the recession made the... What? I miss pre-COVID prices? Bro, bring me back prices from 2010, man.
Contemporaneous articles from 2008 and 2010 suggesting that attitudes in the US during the recession and after were shifting in the direction of thickness. Studies from 2013 and 2020 also positively state that in times of hardship, men tend to prefer a curvier body. This also lines up, potentially as a coincidence, with a more bottom-heavy, ample beauty standard throughout the 2010s.
What
now,
is
I'm
happening?
not saying this is causative, or that it is the sole reason for the spate of Luigi weight gain and inflation art in the 2010s. However, I could not help but notice the intersection of loud, excessive, bombastic early 2010s humor of the rise of the thick movement and Luigi art that looks like this. And as for this artwork, by the way, though this image was fleetingly a meme in 2019, it's actually legitimate fetish art made by artist Lou the Pyro. The fetish in question, but inflation. This is just my game theory. There is, as you can imagine, zero research into this topic. I just really needed to tell you that I made this observation during the research. And this leaves us with merely one loose end. Why Luigi? This question does not have a single answer, but the simplest explanation is that Luigi is portrayed as the younger, taller, slimmer, timid counterpart to his older brother. Put simply, he's kind of adorable. And if DeviantArt specializes in nothing else, it's taking a character you find wholesome and corrupting him in a way that sends you to therapy for the rest of your life. In fact, one of the more well-known examples of sexy Luigi corruption art that you have most likely seen is this image of a muscle-bound Luigi made by an unknown artist in 2015. Though something about this feels distinctly like joke fetish art. Fetish art is fetish art. This illustration, known by its moniker, That's How It Is on This Bitch of an Earth, fully subverts Luigi's character by depicting him as stoic and powerful. Though the original drawing did not actually include any text, the version that was widely circulated in 2015 in the form of this picture of a blanket gained such notoriety that even Shadman, an artist with a reputation for being horrendously edgy and offensive, made Raving Rabbids fan art of this. And if you were curious where the quote came from, amazingly, it is not actually just an edgy meme. It originates from the 1953 play Waiting for Godot, as authored by Samuel Beckett. Freaky Luigi art continues to surface on Twitter, DeviantArt, and the usual suspects. But it seems that his intense affair with inflation and the miracle of life is over, at least for now. YouTube poops are still being made, but they are nowhere near the cultural force that they used to be. And this doesn't really have to do with the video, but I need you to know that while working on the Luigi video, I was incapacitated for a week with back pain. Luigi and back pain. I genuinely could not come up with more insane timing for a joke if I tried, because that's how it is on this bitch of an earth. This has been Bad Art History. This video was made possible by scum cells like you. Thank you. Please consider joining the Patreon for uncensored cuts and blooper reels that are getting longer every video, I promise. A game so absolutely ass with
I didn't know what I was getting into. But man, what a fucking video. Holy shit. What was that? That was crazy. W video, Jesus Christ. Fucking pregnant Luigi. Sometimes YouTube recommendation give you goal. Thank God they did. That was amazing. That I'm thankful for for being able to had the chance to watch this today. Thank you, man. YouTube help. Yeah, no, YouTube, give me more. Corrupt us more, please. Jesus, the Lord I didn't know I needed, dude. I had no idea about this. I love this. This was awesome.